You're watching the free version of Silhouette Essentials. For projects and footage, head to BorisFX.com for the premium download.
So I can do the point tracking in the Roto demo node. I'm going to get out of the stabilization view, select that to none. So now we're in the Roto node here, and I'm going to go to the tracker tab. Shift T, and I'm going to be in the point tracker tab itself, because we have the planar tracker tab and the Mocha tracker tab, and there's one for the point tracker. So I'm going to look at the shot. First, maybe make my viewer area a little bit bigger. I'm going to pick 4 points that stay in view and do not get occluded by the rig. I'll press F to make sure that we are framed and we see all the edges. Okay, so I'm going to add a tracker here. And then probably one up here. Down here and up there. Okay, so let's just add our trackers. So first I need to decide where I'm going to track from. So I'm going to try to track all the trackers at once. I think I'm going to track from the end of the shot. I'm going to add a tracker here. So Alt Option and click, and I'm going to zoom in here and then change the inner box, which is the match area, and the outer box, which is the search area. A little hard to grab here on the outside. There we go. And then I can see it in the preview window here. It looks a little dark. I can't see much. So I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to go to the channel option, and I'm going to choose red. So now I can see my area down here in the preview button. Maybe I'll up the contrast a little bit. So I'm going to track this tracker in the red channel. And we'll go back to the RGB view. And we'll find our next area to put the next tracker. So I'm going to select this little area here. I'm going to zoom in, Alt Option, place my tracker, and adjust my match and search window. And I'm not going to change the parameters here for the tracking. I'm just going to leave it as is. And zoom out and place the rest. I really like the Silhouette Point Tracker module. It has lots of good features. You can average tracks, merge tracks, and even do offset tracking. Okay, now we're ready to track. I'm going to select all my trackers here, shift click in the object list, and we're going to track backwards. Let's go to the last frame. Okay, so now that the tracking is done, I'm just going to scrub through. And we're going to apply the tracks to a layer. So they're all selected. I'm going to click Apply and name the layer Point Tracking Test. And now we can check out the stabilization in the viewer. So we'll go up to the stabilization icon, and we'll go to the Roto demo node, Point Tracking Test. And we'll see how this looks. So there was a little bobble. You can see that. It's probably from this tracker over here. You can see in the timeline that that tracker was made on the wrong keyframe. So it'll just have to be redone. And that's a pretty common mistake when you're dealing with lots of trackers. So that was the cause of the bobble at the end of the shot. So I'm just going to try to retrack that point. So I'll just delete that tracker and try it again. I'm looking for a new location for that 4th point because I think it was a little too close to her arm in that first track. And to make the tracking go faster, I go to the foreground mode. It's really important to work on getting a good solid track, because if your painting relies on it, then it will look so much better. Okay, now that the tracking's done, we'll apply it to a new layer. I'm just going to delete the old layer, select all the 4 trackers, and apply. We'll go up to the stabilization, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, though, that's a bit better. If I hold my cursor here, you can kind of see that it's kind of locked on this side. And that's where we really need it to be stabilized. Okay, so now that we've done some interactive tracking tests, I'm going to show you my final tracks in a different part of the tree. So we'll go out of the stabilization mode here to none, and we'll go over to my tracking area. So in this session, I did the hand paint for some areas I'll show you later, and I also did my clean plate tracking. Okay, so we'll take a look at these 2 results, and then we'll move on to the source match move technique. I'm going to select the Roto V4 and go up to the stabilization icon and choose BG V4, and we'll just play through in the stabilized mode. So this was the result I got earlier, and now we'll look at the point tracking result. So I ended up going with the point tracking for this class. It looks like it's pretty stable, and we'll give it a try. So now we'll move back over to our paint demo once more, and I'm taking a look in the Roto demo node, and so I have my test here, but I'm going to use my final point tracking for the source match move demo. So I'm going to select this node, I'm going to copy this layer, copy, and go to this node and paste. So now I have that tracking inside of this node. So inside the paint demo in the paint window here, I'll set it up for the source match move technique. Okay, so for the source match move technique, one needs to select the tracking in the transform pull down here. And we're going to choose the BG wall, point tracks 2. And we're also going to enable source match move. So source match move is exactly what it says. My source has been match move with the tracking. If I didn't have any selection here, then this would be grayed out, but we want to make sure that's selected. And now we're ready to go. So the nice thing about this technique is that if we use this as a source, we shouldn't need to make any pixel offsets. But we first need to find a frame to use for the offsets in general. So I'm going to just go out of the stabilization mode just for a moment. And we're going to choose an area that we want to paint. We already have some paint here, so I'm just going to choose a different area. Maybe towards the beginning. So if I go to this frame here, 92407, and we'll just make sure that we're on the same frame, and I click caps lock, of course, that's not really going to line up. I'm going to zero out all the offsets because we're just looking at the same frame. So I need to find a frame to pull from. So I'm just going to choose maybe frame a couple frames away, and we'll make that our source. So if I go back to 92407, and we'll just make that 92409, you can see it in the overlay. But we don't have to make any pixel offsets because it's already tracked. And that's pretty easy. You can see I might have to go another frame back, or up, I should say, to get enough room, just to make sure we get all of this rig painted out. So since relative is checked, it means that each time I move a frame backwards or forwards, that this number is going to change as well. But we could also use this frame here and uncheck relative. So this frame would remain the source the entire time. So if I think this is a good source to pull from, then I can just click caps lock. You can see I'm at a different frame. And now we can use this frame for lots of different frames for painting. We don't have to make any pixel offsets. So this is a really handy tool. It takes away the work of setting frame offsets and pixel offsets, but it's still a lot of work. It's sometimes best suited for a thinner or a smaller object. And it's worth trying if you can use it for that, because then it negates the need for painting and comping a clean plate. So it's a good thing to explore. And even though I have only about 50 frames here, you could have a shot that's a lot longer, and it still might be a good idea to look for even a more procedural method. This is sort of splitting the difference, half manual and half procedural. The next step is to create a clean plate, and there are a couple preliminary decisions to be made first.